Hi, I'm Troy Colmer, and welcome to the Freedom Network and the Become Limitless community. So, if you've listened to any of the other podcasts, you'll know that the reason that I am doing these podcasts and the community and all these things is to raise the vibration of humanity. I believe that we may not have long, but the future hasn't happened yet. And we have an absolute chance to totally turn the trajectory of the earth by you and I to get raise our own vibration by getting in our best health, in both in mind and body. And so my mission is with the Become Limitless community is to, by Christmas, everybody that I come in contact with is to get in the best shape of their life. So we've got plenty of time still. The future hasn't happened yet, but we can create it. And that's what I'm about. I'm about creating. So if you'd like to come and see what we do and come and have a look head over to freedomnetwork.io and press the link and join the community. Hit me up. I'm over there and just blabbering on like I do here. So it's all great. And today I've got another beautiful guest, Lucy Ellis. She's a hypnotherapist and all these other hats that she has on. She's going to explain them all. She does a lot of things, actually. She's also an entrepreneur, a business lady. That's how I met her, actually, at the Newcastle Health Collective that she set up. That was a fantastic venue. It was full of all ladies and me. so that was different. But I've never, being a tradesman and then turning into this health side of it, I'd never experienced it before. And I loved every minute of it. So I spent about a year there, I think, hanging out with all the ladies and doing my thing. It was fantastic. Here's Lucy. Hey, he's Lucy. Remember that show?
Lucille Ball.
Yeah, he's Lucy.
Here I am.
Lucy, would you like to tell the people what all the hats that you actually do?
Yeah, well, I feel like I have just one hat, but the modalities in which I use to look at a client or what they're presenting with is I see them more as like lenses that I look through. So I started out as a hypnotherapist, and that was possibly that's when I started, seeing clients. And then I just got really hungry for more to be able to kind of support my clients. So I'm a family constellations practitioner, a resource therapist, and a dream work therapist.
Oh wow, dream work.
And
Oh
yeah,
wow, jeez.
I love dream work. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's beautiful. And human design reader. Yeah, so I really just combine all of those modalities together, and I make it kind of like a Lucy. I Lucify
yeah.
it, and
As you
you
do, as you do.
and you're just kind of always looking at somebody through all of these lenses,
Yeah,
and I suppose that's what makes your special mark on the work that you do with clients. Yeah,
yeah. Unlike me, I'm ticketless.
you
I,
are ticketless, which
and
is
I'm I just like things extremely simple. So
mm,
for me, I just believe the world is programmable. We are programmable, means that, and that means that we can program each other. And, so my take on it, I'm simple. So Lucy, we, oh, we can talk a little bit first about the Newcastle Health Collective. That was a incredible venture that you went into there to set that up.
I know. I don't even know what version of myself that was. But that was
Yeah,
definitely a yesterday version of myself. I live a very different life to that. But yeah, I don't know if you know the background of that, how Newcastle Health Collective
no,
came about, but it was me and two other practitioners got together to create a centre. It was just really small. We each had our own little room, and we just rented out this house, and we called it Newcastle Counselling and Hypnotherapy Centre. And then one of the ladies, and I was loving it so much because we were bringing other people and practitioners in, and I just loved the whole community vibe. And then one of the other ladies, she wanted to go off and create her own centre. And I thought, I want to create my centre too. So I stayed. Actually, Troy, you
Not
might
to be
remember.
outdone.
Pardon?
Not to be outdone.
To be outdone. I was like, I'm loving this. I'm going to make my own too.
Yeah.
So she went off, and I stayed in the house. And you actually came, and I transformed that little house to Newcastle Health Collective. And you came. That's when I first met you.
We were the first.
Yeah, well, no, it was already up and running.
I know we
Remember?
were the first in the building.
Yes, when I took you over to the
Yeah.
bigger building
We
when we
did because
expanded.
I
That's
remember
right.
when Bern and I rocked up to the little cottage, and all the women thing, and I said, mate, what are we doing here? This is like a women's shed or something. He goes, no. Wait till you meet Lucy. All righto. And then we went in, we talked about it, and we went and had a look at the actual other building that we were going to. I went, oh, wow, this is pretty swish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So sorry,
Yeah.
I interrupted you.
But I loved that about you because I think that was one of the first things you said. You know, we're just meeting for the first time. You're like, what's that big sign out the front that's saying it's just women in here? And I was like, oh no. That's just because I work with women and it was a sign advertising my services.
Yeah.
But yes, I think, like you said earlier, you were in a collective full of other women, and I think that that's just the nature of that work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that it calls a lot of women because it's very nurturing kind of work, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you fit in there like you know.
I did fit in quite well, didn't I?
And Troy would take all the ladies like once a week. You'd take somebody for lunch.
Yeah.
It was so wonderful just to having your community spirit and your generosity. And yeah, so I just want to commend you on the work that you're doing as well in your
Yeah, it was
community.
yeah, that was a great time. I really love that. I really did. It was just like, yeah, it was excellent. Just
Mm.
and like all that energy that was there was just amazing. It was, oh yeah.
I reckon we raised the vibration of Newcastle in
Mm.
that spot, don't you reckon?
Oh yeah, it was fantastic.
Mm.
And then
Everybody that walked into that building could feel it as well.
yeah. Well,
Mm.
I was there, of course it was gonna be.
That's correct. It was all you, Troy.
Oh yeah, it's all about me, that's what Kerry said. It's always all about you.
At
Oh, funny.
least she
Um,
knows, right?
yeah, she knows all right. Only too well. And me, I don't have a filter or anything, so I just say it how it is. Um, yeah, and then COVID come and wasn't your friend.
Yeah, then COVID come, and you know what? Um, I still believe that I would be running Newcastle Health Collective if it weren't for a couple of um, little details. Well, which they were big details
Yeah,
that actually impacted on me closing the centre. It was just this funny thing whereby the government kind of said, you had to give a reduction in the rent. Like
yeah,
that was definitely something that needed to be done. Um, and they gave like a bare minimum of like it has to be. I can't remember the percentage. Um, but that was negotiable with the landlord, and yeah, and my landlord just couldn't see that it was not open to negotiating at all. And so I had a lot of practitioners leave over that time because they, of course, couldn't either
yeah,
see, like massage therapists, they couldn't massage and, um, you know, people that had to see their clients face to face. They left, and of course we were all in a bit of a state of fear, so everyone just went home to bunker in.
yeah, yeah,
And I was left still with this little fraction off my rent to pay. And and I just couldn't stand up. I couldn't stand it up for for any long length of time.
Yeah.
And then we recovered. We recovered from that first lockdown. And we were getting back on our feet. But I had incurred debt because that percentage that you took off, the landlord wanted that back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I had the full rent plus this debt that I had to pay.
Yeah.
And so while you're trying to grow and plus be in this debt was just a bit tricky. And then again, not open to any negotiation.
Yeah.
And so it came to the end of my 3-year lease. My 3-year lease was up, and I negotiated the rent and said, yep, I'll sign another 3 years, but I want these terms. And just wouldn't negotiate. So I said, well, I just couldn't possibly, I couldn't, I would have just been thrown. So
yeah,
I had to, and it was I couldn't believe that I had to say goodbye to Newcastle Health Collective at the time. It felt really shocking, and I never could. Isn't it funny how things happen and how the universe just presents these things? And I just never thought that I would give it up. And yet here I was just realizing that because people were saying to me, well, why don't you just move it to a smaller location? And I just knew in my heart, I just didn't have the energy to do that. So sadly it went. And then I did the absolute opposite, and I just came home.
Yeah.
And I've been home ever since, and I'm loving it. I've got my little dog by my feet. I've got my Ugg boots on and couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
And none of that huge responsibility. As much as massive. I love the community, love the community. I love what we created there.
That was a fantastic thing that you did, though. That was just, I was blown away. It was that good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and now you're just Lucy in the house.
Yeah, I'm just
loving life.
I live right by the ocean, so I'm going swimming as often as I can. Just my nervous system has regulated. I don't think you realize when you're holding such a big project how stressed you are until you actually put it down, and then you don't have it anymore, and you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to rest.
It would have been a lot of stress, especially for what went on. So that topic's all done. That's great. We got through we got through the Newcastle Health Collective side of it. So we might just I believe that all our programming happens between 0 and 7, and that sort of rules our life. So I'm just wondering if you could share something that happened between 0 and 7, and then that's led you to where you are now.
Oh, I like this question, Troy. And being put on the spot. Ooh. Being put on the spot like that is quite. But I did have a pretty tumultuous childhood. So there's a lot that happened. And I think the amalgamation of those experiences have brought me to where I am today. But to get a little bit more specific, and how much I want to share.
Yeah. No, don't have to share much. It's all right.
No,
it's just interesting.
Just on a very broad level.
Yeah.
My mum separated from my dad when I was before I was 2, or just around 2. So I have absolutely no memory of, or no active memory. I'm sure I have body memory of being in a unit, like a mum, dad, family unit.
Yeah.
And Mum went on to meet a not very nice man that she brought into the home by the time I was about 3.5, and he stayed around for way too long.
Yeah.
Violent, alcoholic,
Yeah.
sexually
Wow.
abused me. Um, and however, I think um, having kind of gone through that, I think it's hardwired me to be able to read people really well
Yeah.
and be tuned in to what people's energies are like, if they're safe or if they're not safe.
Yeah.
Um, and not many people can bullshit me,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just by you saying all that, that's like makes perfect sense of how you've ended up doing what you're doing.
Mm.
Is yeah, because um like you can't help somebody else, I believe, if you haven't had the experience yourself. If you're not coming from the same wavelength,
Mm.
so all those experiences that you had when you were younger, and then that's obviously led you to want to be able to help people to, you'll probably find your work with those type of people that are in that coming out of that type of relationship or something like that, maybe.
Mm.
Do you
I
attract
do.
that?
Yeah. Wow. I think if I just had a look at all my clients, it's a bit of an amalgamation of lots of things. But one thing I do think that it's given me is, yeah, um, the wisdom
Yeah.
to have walked this path and to be able to hold that for somebody else
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
their healing. Um, yeah, that's probably the biggest,
Yeah. And I
aspect.
think that's probably what makes you so good at what you do.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid of anything that anybody brings me.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of trauma, because I've had a bit of it. And so it's like, yeah, I can
Yeah.
I'm I can hold that for people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And so
yeah,
when did you start to become a hypnotherapist? Was that the first thing that you did?
that was the first thing that I did. Yeah, and I got into it because I wanted to become a hypnobirth. I got into it because I was pregnant with my third child,
Yeah.
and I I couldn't have a like an epidural or anything. So all my children have been natural, because I've had major spinal surgery. And I thought maybe I'll try hypnobirthing for the third labour. And anyway, by the time I got into it and read a little bit about it, I was too far. I was almost like 8 months pregnant, and they were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we need to be with you for a longer."
Yeah.
But then it just intrigued me, and I went down a bit of a rabbit hole. And next minute, I think my third child must have been about 4 months old, and I was going off to learn hypnotherapy to become a hypnobirth um, practitioner, and I've never done hypnobirthing.
How funny. Do you know what? I think that's the thing, because the hypnotherapy and like once you discover the mind, once you discover that it's a program and it's everything's programmable, I think that's what draws you in. Because then you just get, you're obviously on the hypnotherapist side of it, but now you're on all the other things. But yeah, because once you understand how the mind actually works, and that's when you start to go, oh wow, I didn't know that. And then when you change one little thing, and then all your whole world changes. You know, and then
Yeah.
everything around you changes, and then that changes them, and that changes that, and that yeah, and that's where it becomes so amazing when it like that's what I keep telling everyone. Like the mind is half. Like if you've got a circle, the mind's half. That 30% is food, and there's only 20% left, and that's exercise. So they're the three things that I believe that's for our own body. But yeah, if the mind is not right, well, everything's wrong.
Mm.
Like there's every single thing's wrong, and so you get the mind right, and then everything just becomes right. And I bet you have that a lot, when someone comes in and something's wrong with them, and then that you help them get over whatever that issue is, and then everything changes. Their whole life will change.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's like a bit of a domino effect.
Yeah,
They've had, potentially they wanted support with public speaking, let's just say.
yeah,
And just gaining that confidence to get on stage and speak allows them to be able to speak up to their husband at home
yeah,
and to really just activate their voice and grow that confidence. And so, yeah, I think what happens when we start to, um, change the mind is it also influences the emotional body as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
And,
100%.
the confidence, the happiness comes. And, you're speaking about food and exercise. And I think movement changes the mind as well. There's many different ways that we can
Yeah,
change.
it's like the chicken or the egg, I suppose.
Yeah,
But don't forget, you're not going to do any movement unless you think first,
true.
because you
Yeah.
have to. You're sitting on the lounge, and then your mind will go, "Hang on a minute, Troy. Remember that you said that we're doing this 3-day challenge or something, and you said that we were going to be doing this and that." And go, "Oh, right. So I'll have to get up and move." You know. So, yeah. So the mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So although the movement it is right, but it still comes down to the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're a very motivated guy. I mean, you're up every day doing a bit of exercise.
Yeah.
And do you feel like exercising every day?
No, never.
Right. So what are the paces that you put yourself through to get up and out?
Me, I just tell myself that I said this is what I have to do, and then you have to do it. So you
Yeah,
have to.
amazing.
So the mind says you have to do it. You have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I also create the program. See what I create a program that I like doing it. So then it sort of sort of like becomes automatic. So I created a program to I've said it before in another podcast that I used to press the snooze button. I'd set the alarm like half an hour before I get up, and then I'd press it at least 3 times, and then even a fourth maybe. And so I thought, I wonder if I could change that. And so yeah, I just created a new program that I get up when the alarm goes off. Now I haven't pressed the snooze for years. Yeah,
Yes, and that's exactly right. And that's what you do. And that's as simple as it is. But you've got to want, that, and that's what I say to all my clients that come to me specifically for hypnotherapy.
yeah,
You've got to want this,
yeah,
and so obviously you saw a need, a lack, a desire maybe in your life that how you are living, you're not happy with it. So you had to put something in place that was going to flick the switch on that, how you viewed it. And that's what I
yeah,
say. I say, if the alarm goes off and it's your time to wake up, and that's what you've said to yourself, you are saying yes to life when you get out of bed. But if you're snoozing the alarm, you're
yeah,
saying no to life. Like, think about it. You
yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah. It sounds right. But I know, and we differ a bit on these opinions, but
Hmm?
everything's see, I believe 80% of our bodies run on default, and then the other 20% is on our free will. But the free will can override the default at any time. And so you can force yourself to do anything, but you want to try and make everything on automatic as much as possible. It's like when you brush your teeth and when you drive the car and when you ride the push bike or when you walk or, all them
Yeah.
things are all automatic. So they're all automatic programs. So you want to, my thing is that I think that you want to make everything as automatic as possible. So the snooze thing for me was so to be automatic. So I don't even think about pressing the snooze. Like it doesn't even enter my brain because
Mm.
it's not. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's hard to think that true, whatever, sure that works. But when you learn, but the hypnotherapy is the exact same thing because what all you're doing is rewiring your default mode. So you have like your folder. I just say your folder, but you've got your wire going across like the Wi-Fi connection. It's like the Wi-Fi to your say you got your phone, and you've got the Wi-Fi connection on your phone. And so as you start to walk towards your house, the Wi-Fi signal starts to turn on, and then it gets stronger and stronger as you get to the house, and then it's full connection. And so we are exactly the same as that, is that as soon as you start to think about something, we start to connect to the issue, say, and then the more you think about it, the stronger the connection gets. Or the more you talk about it, the stronger the connection gets. But the same as with the Wi-Fi on the phone, you can turn it off. You just turn the Wi-Fi off, and then there's no connection. Like, you just can't feel it. It's just gone. Like, there's nothing there. So the phone is actually still in the house, but it's not connected. Same as us. So the actual thing still happened, but it's not connected.
And you speak about it like it's, you just disconnect it. You just disconnect. You don't want to worry about it. You just disconnect. How do you disconnect?
That's as simple as it is. We don't. I just don't see why we need to. We don't need to make things difficult. I just say, well, do you want it or you don't want it? If you don't want it, we'll disconnect it. If you want it, keep it. Keep it. That's as easy as I like to keep it. But the other thing that happens, Lucy, I think, and I'll see what you say, is because the flower of life, right, is the program that we're in. And so when you change one of the circles, then another, say you remove one circle, and then another circle falls into that spot. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's an ever-changing thing. So that's why you always got to keep working with yourself, because when you change one thing, that changes all that things, because all that moves around to another reality. Mm-hmm. And so then that's why you got to keep working on the reality all the time. It's not like you just go, right, bang, that one thing's changed, and then everything's like, well, kumbaya under the tree. No. Yeah. And so, so you got, that's why you always, it's always ongoing. It's always ongoing it's just like becomes like a life of discovery on yourself. You start doing something, you go, why am I doing that? Why am I thinking that? And then you can say, right, what can I do? Can I change that program? Can I do this? That's how I think. Yeah, can I do that? What can I do there and change that? And so how did I come to that decision? Then you sort of backtrack a bit. Right, now I've got to move that over a bit and do this and go there. And then don't forget, on top of that, we have the universe. And so the universe is always there helping as well. because that's joining in on the road with us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we can use that.
Yeah, depending where. So just on the mind point of view, I do have a slightly different view to you.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
And I think it's worth, just having two
100%
ideas floating about. So, and the way I like to work, I've evolved, I suppose, as a hypnotherapist over the years.
Yeah.
Now with all the other modalities that have kind of been brought in and how I look at the world. I probably confuse myself most of the time.
Yeah.
But I believe the mind needs to get out of the way, actually, and take its rightful place as the passenger in your life. It's not the driver. And the vehicle, this amazing thing that we carry around with us, I mean, just look between the ears is this tiny little, I mean, this is where we think the mind is, but you've got this big vehicle that you're carrying around that is so wise, that has engines and motors and energy circuits running through it, and it knows what is best for you, what is correct for you, where it wants to go. And the mind is meant to be back. I say back at the back of the movie theater. Sit her down with big, large popcorn, and just be entertained by this amazing trip that we're on.
Yeah.
Like, it's so cool. Because when you're in it, when the mind is in it and going, come on, no, we're going to go over here, we're going to go over there. Our body can only sustain that energy until such time that it's going to go, I don't have the will for you today to get up and go exercising. I just don't have it in me. And, you can be run down and, it can lead to everything. The mind takes up too much space, and it needs to take up a hell of a lot more. And what I like to work on the mind with hypnosis with this idea is that we think we're watching a horror film when we're seeing something's going on in our life, but it's changing the the lens in which we look at our life. And it's actually not a horror film. It's actually magnificent. And it's amazing and beautiful. And, look for the glimmers in your life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I think that the difference is that what you call the mind I call the free will. And so because the free will can override our body at any time. So I think the rest of it is like because that's what you're saying about being tired and run down, because you can only use your free will for so long because it uses so much power to of concentration and all those things, because most of the time you need to do it on automatic. So like if you're in the car, right, if you're driving somewhere and if you go the same route all the time, like you can daydream and think about something else and drive the car to wherever you're going and can't even remember. You think, God, did I stop at that stop sign, or did I go through that light, or was there a light there? Even how many cars? And you can't remember the journey, because it's on automatic, like because we have an automatic mode. And so I think that's where our terminology differs a little bit, but it's all, in the end, it's all the same. I'm all about the journey as well, because, you're born with naught and you go out whatever at the end, but what's left? It's just the journey. And so if the journey's got to be right,
That's right. And we're here to have a body. Yeah, we're here to have, well, the journey doesn't have to be right. No, I would beg to differ on that. Sorry.
You don't have to enjoy the journey.
Oh, no, you've got to enjoy the journey.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean.
It doesn't have to be, you don't have to perfect it.
Oh, no.
Or every 5 seconds.
I used to be like that. No, I understand it. That's why everything I do now is like half not finished or something, because I just go, well, I just got to start it, Troy. And it doesn't matter if it's not great. Just get into it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
That's
I mean the journey as in to enjoy the trip, enjoy the journey, enjoy all the parts.
And enjoy,
with all its ups and downs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because why would you want to trade it for the world? Why would you want to trade heartbreak? Like it's such a visceral, beautiful experience to have heartbreak. I know it sounds weird.
I don't think at the time, Lucy. I think at the time it's not so great. But I think after it. Now, you know why, though? Because it's the yin and yang symbol.
It's the feeling.
Yeah, because you have to, if everything was good all the time, how would you know it was good? Because you have to experience a bad to know what good is, and you have to experience good to know what bad is. So you have to have both experiences.
Yeah.
That's what the yin yang is, the dark and the light. So you have to know what the dark is to know what light is, and you have to know what light is to know what dark is. But you know how it's got the S bit like that? You're meant to go through, and then you're only meant to have bit of light, bit of dark, bit of light, bit of dark. Not like go boom dark, then boom light, then boom,
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
You're meant to cruise through life should be like a little down, big up, little down, big up.
Yeah.
That's how we should be. But
sometimes, the chips aren't falling and it's not all great. And you're just having a moment where you're really experiencing a lot of, shock or grief or things happen. But there's always another side. And I always think that when you're in the dark, the light's coming, light's on its way.
Yeah.
So
but you can't see it with the door shut. You're there and you go, oh my God, how much longer do I have to endure it?
Yeah, exactly. That's right. That's right. But it gets you to really enjoy the ups, doesn't it?
But that's what I mean. Life gets exciting because if you take control of your mind and you know that you can control it and put it, like you say, at the back of the theater. But a lot of people don't realize that they can put at the back of the theater. It's just realize that, okay, I can put it at the back of the theater and to move on and do whatever you need to do. That's the main thing.
Yeah, people don't realize it.
Yeah, to know that you have this incredible power. Yeah, that's the yeah. So once you understand that, you've got all the power, and then it's just a matter of what journey do you want to take. Want to take Lucy's journey and get in the theater and up the back and popcorn, all that stuff, or jump in Troy's journey, and it's more black or white, on or off. It's
Either or, it's going to bring you
yeah, it doesn't
to,
really matter. Like, it
yeah.
doesn't matter. This is what I tell everyone. It doesn't matter. Like, if you want to join the Become Limitless community and, join us and raise the vibration, or you just go on your own journey and raise your own vibration, it doesn't matter. As
Mm.
long as I'm just saying, trying to get people to realize that there's a box that we've been put in, open the lid up, have a little look around and go, whatever journey is for you, that's the best, you know?
That's it. But
Yeah, just
just don't
start.
stay in the box. Just don't stay in the box.
Yeah. And
Get
when you
out of
get
the
out, you go, hang
box.
on a minute, there's other boxes around here. You're looking around, you go, what's that box over there doing? I didn't know there was another box.
Yeah. And do you know what I call it? I call it the madness of being normal, you
Yeah.
know? Like it's quite mad, isn't it?
Mm.
Stay in the box, to
Yeah.
conform to doing things a certain way because that's what we've been told. That's what everybody
Yeah.
else is doing. Like I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
find it it's madness.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you get out of the box and you're free to be you and not be so restricted and think for yourself
Yeah.
in a more evolved, empowering way, um, then you realize how mad it looks and is.
Yeah. And that's another whole rabbit hole. Like we can talk about that for hours. That rabbit hole of being boxed in thought, as we call it.
Yeah.
But
And
what
yeah, but
what we were going to do on top
yeah.
is you were going to do this, what's it called, human by design,
Human design reading for you.
human design
And
reading. Yeah.
I'm
And now
loving
I
our
got it before you go on. I got to tell you that it wasn't real, because you know how much I believe in manifesting, that if I have a thought and then I half believe it, well, then it has to happen. It's like a seed, it has to turn, like apple seed has to turn into the apple tree. It can't not. And so
yeah.
I've always been very, I don't like all those things because I don't want to manifest it into my life. And so, but the more I've been looking into this astrology thing, I'm thinking, I think there's something to it. And
Yeah.
so, and then when I asked you if you wanted to come on and talk about the podcast, then you said about all this stuff. I went, oh, then I looked in and I went, oh, you're right. Eh? So I'm in.
Yeah, good.
Right.
Well,
So lay it thick.
okay, okay. Well, I was loving our conversation and I was more than happy to keep going on. Don't get me started about box living.
Yeah,
Um,
no, because we'll run out of time, Lucy. We'll run out of
but we'll
time.
run, yeah, and I was going to just say we could do it in another podcast, but
Yeah,
let
no,
we're gonna do it now. So
yeah.
what I'm going to do is
Well, we'll have to have another. We'll have to have another podcast because there's too many things to talk about.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm having fun. So I have created Troy's human design chart, and basically I've just got date of birth, time of birth, and place of birth, and that's all you need to plug those digits in. And for those of you who have never seen a human design chart before, ta-da,
yeah,
here
that's
it
me.
is. That this is Troy. Now, human design is it's only been downloaded ever so recently in 1987 and this is going to flip you out, Troy. You're going to be
Yeah,
like, oh, this is rubbish. Never, I don't want to deal with this. By a guy that his name is Ra Uru Hu, obviously not his Christian name. And he got this download while he was in Ibiza.
no, that's 100% the download thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But I just like the fact that he was in Ibiza.
yeah, righto. Yeah.
Um,
What is that,
but
like the chakras? Is it? Looks
so
like
yes,
looks
it's
like a
the human
chakra
design.
system.
Human design is based off five ancient and modern sciences. So it's the chakra system,
Yeah,
astrology, Kabbalah, quantum physics, and the I Ching. Yeah, the Chinese astrology. So, yeah, going back to the yin and the yang, that's
yeah,
exactly where the I Ching started. So, you have knowledge about all of this stuff. This is not saying this. Also, this is not a future reading. You know how you said I'm scared about, manifesting anything that you tell me.
Yeah.
This is just about saying this is your unique energy blueprint,
Yeah.
and it's giving you a strategy for how to move in this world and um, and make decisions. And you know what? What I love about it is that it's an experiment. So you can try it on and you can do it however it suits you. Just like either me at the back of the theater with my popcorn or
Yeah.
you working your free will and making shit happen.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same thing. You've like, this is your stamp. Okay, now what am I going to do with it? And what do I want to do with it? You know?
Yeah.
For me, it was the golden key to get fully out the box
Yeah. Right on.
and be completely me. So first of all, you just pop in and tell me anything you want to, like ask a question or whatever as I go, yeah?
Yeah.
But the first thing that we look at is type. And so your type represents the auric field that you have, your energy system, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so you can see here that you're an emotional generator, like me, twinsies.
You.
And so a generator, if we just look at that first, that's defined by having this what we call the sacral center
All
colored
right.
in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And the sacral center is the generator energy. It's a life force energy that's constantly moving through you.
Yeah.
And it gives, like you wear it out over the day, you get into bed, you sleep, you wake up, you've got more energy, you go again. And it recuperates or charges itself when you're sleeping, and then you use it up and you expel it all and begin the process. So generators have a beautiful open aura, and they're very welcoming and inviting. People, you might be the type out on your walk, you know, you might nod or smile at people as you walk past. They're very, open kind of people. And the emotional aspect is, first of all, before I move on to the emotional aspect, as a generator, you're here to respond to life. So things come to you and you decide what you're going to respond to and what you're not going to respond to. And if it's got to be, we can feel that yes response, like, yeah, I really want to do this. I really want to start Freedom Network. Like, that's going to be awesome. I'm going to change the vibration of the world. Yes, I'm going to do it. and you get up, I want to do this podcast. I want to talk to all these people.
Yeah.
Then that is your body saying, yes, like, do this. But then there are things like, I'm sure you've shared with the community that you are an electrician,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you've still got it, but your electrical company.
Yeah.
It got to a point where you were like, my sacral's not lit up anymore. I'm getting up,
Well,
and
it was never lit up. I never wanted to be an electrician. It was only that I had to because
you were
I wanted to
lighting
leave
up the
school.
world, but not yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that leads to frustration, burnout. I don't know. You can share how you felt living that life, not in alignment. And so that's why we know if we're in alignment or not. It's when you're getting up and you're like, whoa, like, look at this day. I've got 4 podcasts. I'm talking to people. I'm excited. I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Then you know you're on the right path. Now, I know that seems like very simple knowledge, life knowledge, doesn't it? But it's very specific for a generator to respond in this way, to only do the things that really light you up. Otherwise, you will be frustrated. And that's the experiment with being a generator,
Yeah.
is really just tuning in and going. And it's the way we decondition. It's the way we get out of the box, because naturally we will go, oh, maybe there's a friends that you have that you've kind of grown out of, and Sally and Jeff have invited us over for a barbecue, and I really don't want to go, but we've been friends with them for like 10 years, so I suppose I should go. But you go and you're not really lit up by it. That's just up to you, but this is, it's really calling you to go, well, I don't want to do it. The body doesn't want to do it. The body doesn't have energy for it. But, if you show up, you know that you're just being that, you're living in the box. You're being mad, really. Doing something that just to please and, keep the peace. And then what makes us a little bit more complex is that you have an emotional authority. And that means that you're always having an emotion. We run warm, and people that aren't emotional run cool. So whereas the cool people, they don't want to rock the boat, They're not here. They're just like, smooth it over. Whereas the warm people are always having an emotion, and we're always kind of like the emotion is in our auric field. People are being hit by our emotional waves all the time. And there's nothing to do. There's, when I first saw that I was an emotional generator, I was like, oh, of course I'm emotional. Such a curse to be emotional. But like I said, why wouldn't you want to go through heartache and grief?
Yeah.
So maybe I'm a bit sick like that, but
Yeah.
I also have now grown to love my emotions because it makes us wise, The greatest piece of art works of art, should I say, comes from the depths of despair. And that's where we get our emotions, get our wisdom from. But also I want to say, as a generator, we shouldn't be making decisions when we're up high or down low. We just got to kind of balance it out. And you have a very specific emotional wave. Your emotional wave is for the collective. This is what I find very interesting about you, Troy.
Yeah, right.
It's you looking at the future and desiring a better tomorrow and feeling the pressure. I know.
You've been listening to too many of my podcasts.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No,
but that's exactly right. That's spot on so far.
Yeah. So I desire a better tomorrow. So I want to go out and do something and have a better experience. And it is about chasing experiences. And also now, like, I've worked this thing out for myself. Let me share it with the collective and see what they think. But it's this lack, kind of feeling like we're lacking something here. I desire a better move, feeling the pressure to move towards it, do something about it, and then share that with the collective. Yeah. So how's that all landing?
Yeah, it's landing. Yeah, I don't know about the I do have a bit of emotional side, but it's yeah, I don't know about the going out beyond thing, but I know the second part of it is 100% correct. That's what I'm about. I'm about changing tomorrow to make today better.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a couple of aspects in your chart where this is actually a lot of your chart, kind of repeats this same concept that. So I don't know how much time have we got left, by the way?
About 10 minutes. Did we want to make it into a part 2?
Yeah, we maybe do you want to wrap it up here? Once I get going,
we probably could, and then we'll go, because I'm feeling that we've probably got about another half an hour on this thing, have we?
Oh, Troy, I
Oh, is
could
it that
speak
bad?
to you
Is
for
that, oh my God.
months. No, but I wouldn't. Like it's not helpful. It's not helpful at all for me to
Yeah.
do that, all in one go. It's really good for you just to take away a little snippet.
Oh, I don't like
Um,
snippets. I like the whole hammer effect.
yeah. Well, yeah, we can talk off air about what we can do, next time.
Yeah,
Um,
it doesn't. Yeah, I don't. I'm an open book, so I don't. Nothing bothers me. I'm
mm,
because you know what I heard, Lucy, one time. They said there was a saying or something. Someone said it. They said, "No one's going to remember you when you're dead."
mm,
And so what's it matter now then? You know what? And because I used to worry about it, and that's why I used to hate. I used to be really private, right? I was a real private person, and I think that was from my 0 to 7 upbringing, and um, and so I didn't like to share anything.
mm,
Like I didn't even want to tell people that I was adopted or anything like that. Like I was embarrassed by it, and so but that saying of just saying no one's going to remember you when you're dead, and they said like this is only recently too that I heard that. And they said that they go, what about the Queen? Now, the most popular lady in the whole world, like who talks about the Queen? Nobody,
mm.
unless it's in a book or something, someone brings it up. But, Queen's gone. Oh, well, King's here. You know what I mean? Like nobody's going to remember you. It doesn't matter about your ego. You might think you're going to be doing this and that and all that. And, look at Steve Jobs change the world with the iPhone. Everyone goes, oh, yeah, Steve Jobs. All the kids won't know him. They'll go, who's that guy?
Mm, mm,
No one cares. It's
mm,
an iPhone. Oh yeah, wacko. We've
mm,
always had a phone, haven't
mm, mm.
we? When was so no one? Yeah. So once you work that out, you just go, well, who cares then?
Absolutely. And you know what? Even when you die, and let's just say you become as famous as Steve Jobs, and people are talking about you, making movies about you, framing what you are like as a personality, you're not here to see it
No,
and
that's
get
the other
bad.
thing. Who cares about that too?
They can talk
Yeah.
shit about you
So
all they like.
now, so now I'm just don't care. Like I just don't really care about it. I'm just want to do everything that I can to get people to open up the lid of the box. And if it costs me a bit on the way, well, friends and that, if they want to jump off, they don't like what I say or whatever, well, sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is because I just feel that the humanity thing's just too big. You know, I believe that we're right on the cusp of where we can go left or right, you know, and we're easy, like we are just saying earlier on about the box thinking, is we're so easily programmed like humans, so easy.
Mm,
And then, but like you were saying before about getting out of your own way and putting the mind at the back of the theater. But unless you know you can do that,
mm.
um, once you understand that you can do that, well, then you can't be programmed anymore. Because when you listen to someone else tell you, say, okay, hang on a minute, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't add up in my mind. No, I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely, and I believe that that's what you're doing on these podcasts and in your network is you're showing people another way to think or live,
Mm,
giving them the tools. And the other thing, though, what we have to bring into account is that, like you said, 0 to 7, and I think even longer than that, we're programmed our whole life. So
yeah,
it's almost like once we get to that awareness that, oh yeah, actually I don't I don't believe in that anymore. I don't want to think like that. I do
yeah,
want to break out of this box. Then that's when the deconditioning process
yeah.
starts
Well,
taking
I say it's like
place.
the phone, right? Again, the phone is us to a T. It's perfect. And so the phone for 0 to 7 is when you get the phone and you get out of the box, you plug it in, and then you download the program. But then from when you get it out of the box and it's all downloaded and you've got it all charged up and it's all ready to go, so that's your 0 to 7. Then after that, all the apps go on. And so you
Mm,
get all the apps are all built on. And so then you get to a certain time. What I'm saying is those apps, we they might not be doing you any justice anymore. And so we
mm,
just go and just start cleaning off. Get rid of the apps.
Delete, delete, delete.
Delete the
Yeah,
apps. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
what,
so that's geez, we've been going an hour already.
okay.
Um, this will have be part one. We'll have to make part two because we're definitely going to have another hour of it, I can see. And I would just have to hit me with a hammer because otherwise I'll be wondering. I'll be,
What?
I'll be wondering what I'm going to be getting served up with. So yeah,
What?
we just say it how it is, and that's how
Yeah,
we just deal with it.
absolutely.
Um, so Lucy, how can people get in contact with you?
Well, I think I'm most active probably on my Instagram, Lucy Ellis _ therapy, and Facebook, Lucy Ellis Hypnotherapy. Also, just come over to my website where everything is lucyellis.com.au. Everything's Lucy Ellis,
Yeah,
pretty
great.
much. Type that in and you should find me.
And I'll put that into the show notes. So we'll make sure that anyone wants to go. And I highly recommend it to go and see Lucy. She's amazing. We think the same but different. I think the outcome is pretty well the same, but different roads of getting there. It's like Jeff, my mate Jeff. We think the same but totally different. And his outcomes, but we're all going on the same journey, heading in the same direction, raising our vibration, getting yourself healthy, both in mind and body. That's the main thing. And so if you want to find out again, head over to freedomnetwork.io and join our free community to become limitless. We're going next week. Actually, we've got our first challenges starting up. So it's going to be exciting because our idea is to get to the end of the year and just be in the best shape. You know, we've got a whole year still, not a whole year, half a year, less than half a year now, 5 months, 5 months to go. So we still got plenty of time. And we just chip away. It's like climbing a mountain, one step at a time. We don't set ourselves up for failure. We set ourselves up to win. We do little bits of wins. We don't try and go bang, chop that off. No, we go little bit, and before you know it, you've achieved like a whole thing. You look back and go, "Wow, look where I come from." And so that's the idea. So again, thank you very much, Lucy, for your time today, and I certainly look forward to our part 2 episode. And all right, thanks very much.
Thank you, Troy.